Welcome back, everybody. We're here to pull cards for the 25th of July. I am going to be pulling one card for overall energy. After that, I'll pull one card for each sign in the zodiac, and we'll see where that leaves us for our predictions. Let's take a peek. If you guys know your sun sign, you can get a little bit of juice off of something like this. If you know your friend's signs and you care to check it out, you can get a little more. I know a lot of y'all do that. But also, if you know your house system, then you can actually pull quite a bit of good information out of a quick read like this. Overall energy is the King of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, now that's really fitting because we have Venus going retrograde. I believe by today it has already started. And so when Venus goes retrograde, that makes us really rethink what's important to us, what are our valuable things. And it also makes us rethink our own personal value. So very fitting that this would come up today because I think it went into retrograde on the 22nd. So we're still pretty early in that retrograde. It actually goes into, if I remember right, into September. So I think this card has us really re-looking at, rethinking the things that are of value to us. And then if you know where your Venus is in your chart, that's going to be helpful too, because it not only influences those things that are of value to us, it also influences the sign of Libra, which has to do with our partnerships, people that we partner up with, whether that is romantically, whether those are family members, whether those are clients, whether they're employers. So we're also going to be rethinking those types of partnerships in our lives as well. But for right now, the focus seems to be on the pentacles. What do we value? So the Taurus side of Venus, because Venus also um, rules Taurus. So, and then if you can see where Venus is in your chart and what house that is for you, you can actually get, you can really come to a more full understanding of where exactly this is going to land in your life. Let's see here. Let's see here. So, how is this King of Pentacles? How is this rethinking things that are valuable to you? How is this going to come into play today for each sign, starting with Aries? Seven of Pentacles coming up in reverse. So, Aries, this is my payday card in it. When it comes up in reverse, it means that there's a payday that you were expecting at a certain particular time today, and it's not actually coming in today. Or if it is coming in today, there's some kind of problem. Not all your money got included in this. Maybe some of it got taken out for something that you weren't expecting. Maybe someone forgot to put your overtime or your commissions. There is something like this happening with your pay today. And I think that is what is making you sort of rethink, okay, how do I earn my pay? How do I want to earn my pay? Do I want to go through this every so often? So rethinking that whole thing around where you're getting this pay from and if you're willing to mm, play along with whatever these issues are that are showing up, let's say. I don't want to say if you're willing to accept them. I am pretty sure you aren't. Are you willing to play along with them? Taurus. Taurus. Four of Wands. This talks about the idea of rethinking the value of our home or someplace where we feel at home. How important is home to us? What is home? What is home and how important is home? Are we willing to be gypsies and wanderers? Is that the kind of home that we actually crave or want? If you've got a lot of fire in your chart, that may be. How important is home? That's what we're rethinking today. Thinking and rethinking. All right, next up, we're looking at Gemini. Justice card. Geminis, I think you're thinking and rethinking how important are legal contracts and commitments. Maybe some of you may be thinking about how important is it to be legally married? How important is it to have something signed and notarized as opposed to a handshake on an agreement? That's what you're rethinking today. You're rethinking contracts and agreements, especially long-term version. How important is it for them to be official, number one, and how important are they in your life overall? Cancer. Let's see what you're looking at, reevaluating today. Ten of Swords in reverse. Cancer, you have something going on where not all the ends are tied together yet. There are some loose ends, is what I'm trying to say. And I think you're evaluating how important is it to get these loose ends tied together? What kind of stuff am I going to have to go to get this finally all tied together and wrapped up and done? Is it worth it? Maybe I can just leave these ends untied and focus on something else? Questions around tying something up and putting it away finally. How important is that to you? How important is finding closure? Next up, let's look at Leo. Leo, 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 Leo. How did I do that? I completely shuffled face in the wrong direction. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. Let's try that again. Okay. Leo. Boop, ba-da-doop, boop. Four of Swords coming up in reverse. This is really kind of an echo of that overall energy that we have. Four of Swords says that you've actually already been getting a new perspective around something. You've got the preface of the book written. You've already been moving towards this idea of rethinking what is valuable to you, what is important to you. You've been sort of moving towards that already. We have that energy coming in even stronger today. So today is going to be a continuation for you of considering your own value, considering what is important to you. This isn't just starting today for you. This has been going on. You may even be getting close to a conclusion already, or at least, shall we say, your first conclusion, since this retrograde really has just started. Boop, ba-da-doo-doo, Virgo. Five of Pentacles showing up in reverse, Virgos. Boop, ba-da-doop. Virgos, it looks to me like as you're evaluating what your worth is and what things are important to you, what do you value in your life, you're realizing that some of the stuff that you consider valuable, whether it's experiences, money, relationships, whatever it is, some of those things that you consider valuable, you kind of feel like you're feeling like, oh, those have been a little tightly squeezed the last few months, is what I'm hearing. And so, where your reevaluation comes in is in this idea of reevaluating how to bring more of what I value into my life. What do I do to create more? of that. And I think that some of the things that you value really add to your stability and your security. That's what I'm hearing. Plus, I know that astrologically anyway about you guys that that's a priority in general. I think you're looking at how do I get more breathing room as far as the things that I value? How do I have plenty? And maybe even how do I have extra to share with others as well of those things that are important? Right, so next up, we're looking at Libra. Okay, Libras. Four of Cups coming up in reverse. So Libras, I think that you've already sort of been working on reevaluating your value, your worth, what's important to you. What do you consider valuable? This isn't new for you either. And I think that you've had some disappointments when it comes to those things that you value, whether it's things or relationships or whatever. But with this whole rethinking of it, I don't feel like you're slowing down. I feel like you're getting back up from whatever those disappointments were. And you're sort of asking yourself, okay, well, what's the new plan? What's the new plan? If this thing that I used to value disappointed me and it's not as valuable as I thought it was, well, what is valuable? What should I be working on? What should I be moving towards? Let me start to go in that direction. All right, next up, we're looking at Scorpio. This is a deep reading today, guys. I'm almost afraid to look at the Scorpio part of it. What do we have? Two of Wands. This actually makes a lot of sense. Two of Wands in reverse, actually. For me, this talks about this idea that that what we value is the impact that we're having on others in our sphere of influence. And what we're doing today is we're looking at that impact that we're having on others in our sphere of influence. And we're looking at, is this the impact I want to have? And I think we're recognizing that maybe it's not. And so we are starting to make some changes, some tweaks, some adjustments so that we do have the impact that we want to have on the people in our sphere of influence. By the way, guys, if you're not getting my newsletter yet, go to my website and sign up for it. Speaking of impacting people in my sphere of influence, those of you who have not been watching me a while, my sun is in Scorpio along with a whole other stellium as well. So I usually relate pretty well to Scorpio. And then my rising is Taurus. That's the other one I normally relate to. All right, let's see. Let's look at Sagittarius. Sagittarius. I should say the ones that I relate to the most. Okay. Well, like it. You guys have the Strength card coming up here. This just tells me that looks really odd to me in the camera. Oh, I see. She has a fish on her head. Her face is below that. Anyway, okay, focus. Sagittarius, strength. This has to do with your self-esteem. I think that what's going on here is you're evaluating, or reevaluating your self-esteem and recognizing this is all about self-value. I think as you're evaluating and reevaluating your self-value, I think you're coming into a good place. You know, this is not, oh, I'm so cocky, I'm arrogant, I'm a bag of chips, and all that. No. And this also isn't, oh my goodness, I'm not worth anything. Would you like to just walk right over me? I can be your wonderful, loving doormat forever. It's not that either. It's that nice, healthy space. Nice, healthy space where self-esteem is an accurate view of yourself. So that's what we see you coming into today through your Evaluation and reevaluation. Very good. Capricorn. Love it. Capricorns, your evaluation and reevaluation has to do with your partners in the financial world. So your employers, your employees, if you are an employer, if you're an independent contractor, the people that you have contracts with. This is what you're reevaluating. This is what you're fine tuning and you're tweaking so that these partnerships become more of a win-win. Win-win for everybody, not just for them, but also for you too. Next up, we're looking at Aquarius. Water bearer coming up. Ba-da-do-do-do. Aquarius. Funny that I said water bearer just now. Page of Cups shows up in reverse. Aquarius. What you're reevaluating is how important is it to you to show appreciation to the people who are important in your life that help you. You're evaluating this idea of expressing appreciation to people in your sphere of influence. This is what you're reevaluating. You're fine tuning that. If you haven't been doing that enough, you're going to step it up. If you feel like you're doing it so much that people think now they don't have to do anything to get praise, they don't have to really even earn their pay, you'll be stepping it down. Either way, doing some fine tuning here. All right, next up, let's look at Pisces. Judgment card coming up in reverse, Pisces. I just feel like there's a glare on these cards. Judgment in reverse. Pisces, there's something about, I'm going to say for most of you, there's something about your self-worth that you have thought for a while that you are not going back to. I think you got away from it for a little bit, but it's kind of knocking on the door, it's wanting you to let it in, this old idea about your self-worth that isn't true. You may have somebody around you who's giving you false impressions about the level of self-worth you have. Usually when people give us those false impressions, they're trying to tell us we're worth less than we are. Unless they're trying to flatter us. But whatever's going on here, Pisces, I think you recognize it. It's happened before in the past. And so I think you recognize this person coming at you, trying to really jack with your self-image, either one way or the other. You're not having it. You're not having it. I don't know if you are, let me say this. Some of you, when somebody says something like this to you, you're shutting it down immediately. You are absolutely shutting it down immediately. You're not even going to hear it because you choose not to. Others of you are not necessarily shutting it down per se. You're letting somebody say whatever this is they're saying, but you're not picking up what they're laying down, if you know what I mean. Like you're not letting that sink into your heart. Like if they're saying some things that are unreasonably low on your self-esteem or unreasonably high on your self-esteem, I think you recognize it. And I think you also recognize their ulterior motives. So you're not letting that sink in for you because you know that it's tainted. It's tainted with ulterior motives. It's not sincere. Okay, so that judgment card in reverse really says, I'm not falling for somebody else's evaluation of my self-worth. I know. I know my self-worth. And the important thing when I'm looking at myself is what I think of me. And if you believe in God, what God thinks of you. But nobody else, what they think of you doesn't matter. And I think that you recognize this already. So you're not really letting anybody shake you here when it comes to your idea of self-worth. You're solid, which I like to see. That's really nice, especially for a water sign to be solid is kind of an amazing thing. We like this. All right. So that's what I've got for today, guys. Thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate all of you guys' kind support, not only watching this video, but also putting up the thumbs ups, sharing it out to the world, and also putting comments and feedback down below. I always love to read those. They're fascinating. And of course, it helps the video to get out to more people. And the more people I can reach and be of service to, the happier that makes me. So, I really do appreciate all you guys' support in this area, and it does make a difference. On top of that, what else do I need to tell you guys? I am doing readings and Reiki sessions today. All my information is right there. So you can check out my services. All my contact information is there too. You can get a hold of me if you have questions or if you just want to schedule. Either way, I'm normally most responsive to a text message or a phone call. Email, you can definitely send me. It's questionable how long it's going to take for me to actually notice it. So that's why a phone call or a text message is usually better to reach out to me with. But anyway, thank you guys once again for being here. Everyone have a fantastic day. Peace out.